After years of helping online businesses make more money by advising them on their taxes and finances, I've now made it my mission to reach as many profitable online businesses as possible to help them save on their taxes and make more money. On my quest, I bring you proven and real profitable online business owners, and we dig into how they do it. Hello again. We're here on The Few, the Proud, the Profitable. This is the podcast where we talk exclusively to 6- and 7-figure online business owners. We know that in this world, there's a lot of people who fabricate, who exaggerate their success. So what we do here, we take the guesswork out of it for you. We've vetted all of our guests, and we know that they're actually making money online, that they're actually legit. So we get tips from them that hopefully you'll be able to put into practice. Got one of those today. Kim Barrett, thanks for being here, man.
My pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. So just to get started, tell everybody who doesn't know who you are, what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm Kim. We have a company called Your Social Voice. We're based in Perth, Australia. We work with people all over the world. We help them scale up their Facebook ads either by doing it for them, or we help them install our marketing systems into their business so that they can get more leads, make more sales, and ultimately have less stress in their business.
Yeah, that's awesome. Facebook ads is sort of an interesting space to me because there are people who do it at this amazingly great level. And then it seems to also be where entry-level marketers start, even when they have no concept of what they're doing whatsoever.
Oh, that is, to be honest, one of the biggest banes of my existence, because so many people will just teach and then they're like, oh, look, you can go and get a client. You can get all these people lead sales and you can just charge them money and no problem. And I'm like, you probably shouldn't be doing that. Like, cause then people come to me, they're like, Facebook ads don't work. You're all just a bunch of hucksters. And I'm like, oh, but that's because you worked with a person who's done Facebook ads for 2 weeks.
Right.
Well,
and they bought a course that was designed for the way Facebook ads worked 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Or they just bought a course and said that you can start a 6-figure, a 7-figure marketing agency. And it's like, well, like, yes, I know you can, but like, are you going to do it in 2 weeks? And then should you go and charge people lots of money for it? You know, probably not. So, I'm definitely on your side where you're like the online world. It's so like dangerous in that regard for people and businesses and people that don't really give like an understanding. It's like, oh yeah, this person just said I can go do this. And it's like, yeah, but do you care about the business on the other side that you're going to be doing the stuff for? Like,
right.
Sometimes I don't think they do.
No, I think a lot of times it's either a desperation or just really wanting to get your feet wet to where you feel like your clients are paying for your training in this space. They're paying you a real premium for the beta testing that is your business.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just sort of fascinating because like you said, this screws the guys who are in your position who are actually operating at this high level, because for a lot of digital marketing things, the clients have no idea how it works.
No.
Zero concept.
And to be honest, that's like, I do try and encourage people. I'm like, you don't have to figure out and know how to do everything in digital marketing, but you definitely should have a foundational understanding so that you can have a decent enough conversation and know if someone tells you something and you're like, oh, hang on, that does not sound right at all. But if you don't know, you literally don't know. And it's like, how do I know what the outcome is? It's like, you have to know when you go to get your car serviced, right? You're like, cool. You know that, all right, I can see my tires. I don't need new tires. I know that when I drive, I can see my oil levels. And they're like, oh, you need a complete oil change and 4 new tires. You should be able to go, but there's tread on my tires. I don't need new tires. You know what I mean? You need to be able to have that level of awareness.
Yeah, just these reasonable baseline understandings. It was funny this must have been in 2014 or something. I was looking for a new SEO guy. And so this guy kept talking to me about Matt Cutts. He's like, oh yeah, Matt Cutts, he's shaking in his boots because they can't, this strategy, there's no way. Matt Cutts was the anti-spam guy from Google who left the company or went on sabbatical back in 2010. And 3 years later, he's still talking about him as if he's like the head honcho. Just little baseline awareness of what's going on, I think, in anything is so important.
Yeah, it's so true. And it's, yeah, otherwise I think it's like you can then it's not that it's your fault then, because it's definitely on the service provider to actually provide a good service,
Sure.
but it just allows you to at least see through and filter through and go, oh, that person is probably not the person for me to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool, man. So, second question that we ask everyone is, what's the best thing about having a profitable online business?
Look, I would say it does. It literally does give you. And look, I have an online business, but we still have a full physical office with a full
Hmm.
team. But I mean, the good part is that really all of our team can, if we need to, can work location independent. So I still, and that's like the old laptop lifestyle dream that everyone was
Yeah.
sold. But it's like we do have the ability. Like we literally fly out in 4 hours time to the east coast of Australia. Still work while I'm there. It's not like I need to
Mhm.
go and open up a file drawer in my office and pull out and try and figure out where my files are and stuff. It's like everything's online. I can work. We have clients all over the world, which again, go back 15, 20 years, it'll probably be
Yeah.
pretty hard for me to have an online business working with clients all over the world without me flying to America, flying to
Hmm.
Asia, flying to Europe. And it's like, now it's like, cool. It's like, cool. Do you want to jump on Zoom? Yeah, great. Done. Problem
Yeah.
solved.
And that's kind of similar to the way that we've got it here because we've got our physical office. We have clients come here. But as we've shifted more and more towards the online, not only do we have clients all over the country, weirdly enough, even as a tax practice, we're picking up more people all over the world with some international clients. But it also just the freedom's always sort of the cliche answer of why it's so great to be online, but it is true. The
Yeah.
flexibility it gives you is like nothing else in terms of owning a business.
Yeah, I think that's probably the better word. Flexibility. It's like, because yes, like freedom. When some people say it's like, oh, you never have to work, and it's like, no,
Right.
like I work a
A
lot,
lot.
right? Like I was literally it's 7 a.m. here now. I was in the office an hour ago, at least an hour and a quarter ago, already getting prepped for the day, getting stuff done,
Hmm.
and I won't finish tonight until quite late. But I have the flexibility to go, cool, when do I want to work? How do I want to work? And obviously we have
Right.
big goals, so that's why I work really hard. But I do have that flexibility. And if I want to literally pick up my laptop and go and on the weekend and I go to Bali or Fiji and work
Mhm.
from there, I can do that too. I mean, it
Yeah.
looks cool for the like we were saying
Right.
earlier,
You
for the
took
media
snap a
pictures.
selfie.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, these guys have got it good. And it's like, yeah, that was a 10-minute break that I took while
Right.
while I was hustling.
Well, it's funny. I've got certain clients where they travel all the
Mm.
time. They're basically just nomads and they're going to these exotic places and for marketing purposes and their own enjoyment. Yeah, they'll snap the selfies and look at how these exotic locations are at, but they'll put on there. They don't try and hide it. They're like, "Yep, did this in the hour break we had on the 12 hours we were working today."
Yeah,
So you do have this ability to, if you had a regular job, if you had a brick and mortar business, like I feel bad, we've got some small scale retail clients, they work 7 days a week because the store is open 7 days a week. But
exactly.
these online clients, yeah, they're crushing it, they're working like madmen, but they're able to literally travel all over the world while they're doing it and work the hours they want to work with the clients they want to work with.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the best, and that's the other one of the other benefits is that you do get to choose, and especially when you leverage things like Facebook ads or you leverage
Mhm.
real specific things where you can be so targeted. It's like, cool, I
Yeah.
only work with people that I like, that I think are cool, that I want to hang out with, because we're running an event on the weekend, and it's like, if you're going to spend 2 days with me, you got to be a cool person, because otherwise I'm going to be annoyed and frustrated, and I don't want to work with them. So you get that
Right.
benefit. It's not like, as you say, bricks and mortar, or if you had a restaurant or something, you've got to deal with who comes in, right?
Hmm.
It's like, cool. And then it's like, if they're not if you don't like them, or they're rude customers or something like that, you're like, well, but they came in and ordered food, so I have to serve them. With online, it's like, oh, cool, I'm only going to target these people that like this
Hmm.
sort of stuff, that are similar to me, so that if I get to work with them, they're going to be ideal.
Yeah, because if you're limited based on either volume or geographic region, like you're saying, you're stuck
Mm.
because you've got such a limited population to begin with that you can only afford to be but so choosy. But when you're targeting either nationally or globally, and then you're able to hone down the way you do with Facebook ads to this perfect match of a client, hopefully,
Yeah.
That's just pretty amazing when you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's phenomenal. And then, you get to make, and then it's funny because then you get them all together. They're like, oh, how come all of us are so similar? And it's like, I wonder why. Like, it's, like,
totally on accident.
yeah.
But yeah, it's like, but like you're saying too, on actually liking people, one of my favorite pieces of advice, so it's funny, I was interviewed today for some publication that'll come out in like 6 months about firing clients, about as a CPA, how you manage that when you have to fire them. And one of my favorite pieces of advice, there was a business partner of mine who was working with a high-end consultant. I tell the story all the time, where the language he used was a lot more colorful than this, but one of his main mantras was, paraphrase, no jerks.
Yeah.
No jerks. He said, I don't care how much they're paying you. I don't care how big of a client they are. They are going to cost you in the end. They're going to cost you your energy, your time, your sanity, and ultimately all that mess costs you money. And so yeah, if you have the flexibility you do, working online, specifically targeting the right customers, it gives you that luxury that some businesses just don't have.
Yeah, and like we liken it to in a very Australian way, the beer test. It's like, would you sit down and have a beer with them? If not, cool, move on. It's like, and that's the benefit. And I think that's a lot of problems that people face, especially if you don't know how to effectively market and advertise your business properly. What you'll do is you're like, I need to work with anyone that comes in.
Right.
So you're like, I have to work with them. And it's like, well, no, like saying we've had to fire clients before and not just for, like not right fit personality wise, but just profitability. Some of them ate into it where it's like, we charged them a lot, but they took a lot of hours. So it's like, oh, well, it's just it doesn't make sense. We're working for free.
Yeah.
But, like that personality test, and it's like, cool, now we go and we get them come in. And because the whole team has to, like, I talk to them, if I like them, and then the team talks to them, sometimes they'll be like, I don't know how long this person will last because like there's a clash or like they don't get along. And it's like, cool, well, let's just not work with them then. Like this may as well shortcut it rather than go, we have to work with them. It's like, well, we get to choose who we want to work with. Let's choose the best people possible.
Yeah, because even for any business, even if you're doing info products online, for any business, there's different levels based on the industry and what you're selling, but you do have a limited amount of bandwidth. And over time, sure, that scales. You add a new staff member, you add additional administrative help, and that goes up. But we don't have unlimited time and energy where if instead of having to do what a lot of people do, where either one, you just put up with it, or two, you deal with the client for a couple of years and then lose your mind and just tell them to get out. If you're able to do that on the front end, like you're saying, that's powerful.
100%. And I think it's just being willing to let clients go. And there's like Jay Abraham, I'm a big advocate of. I love all of his stuff and his theory of preeminence. And the whole thing is like at the beginning, if you're not the right fit, you're actually doing the client a disservice. A lot of people think about themselves. And it's like, well, actually, why don't you send them to someone who's more aligned with who they are, more aligned, because someone will align with them somewhere. Like you might not be the right fit, but someone else will fit with them. So it's like, cool. So like we are probably I would say like one of the biggest like referring ad agencies. Cause I like all the time I send clients to other people. I'm like, not a fit for me. I'm going to send them to John. I'm going to send them to Peter. I'm going to send them to Matt. Like, and sometimes I get along with them much better than they would with me. So I'm like, okay, great. And it's like, I get to send them away. I'm happy. All these other guys are happy. The people that I refer to happy. And it's just like everyone wins.
Well, it's funny in that interview I was doing today, they were asking like, well, how do you deal with the guilt of if you have to get rid of a client? How would you advise someone who's dealing with this to deal with the guilt? And we talked a little bit about it, but ultimately I'm like, you shouldn't have any guilt, because not only do you have to do what's best for you, which like you're saying, that's what we always think about first. But I said at the point when you feel like you're doing this client a favor because they're so tedious to deal with, they're so time consuming, you're not charging them what you should, you're ultimately probably not giving them the best service. You're not giving them what you would to a client you really liked and you meshed with well. For it's a disservice to them ultimately, which again, I don't, like you said, I don't feel like most people recognize that.
Yeah. And they don't. And it's like, I had to learn it very quickly. And it's like, cause I took on clients that I shouldn't have. And then I was like, like, this is painful. Like, and these ones were nice people. They were just way too big for me at the time. And I was like, and so I was pulling my hair out. This is like Christmas one year. And I was like, I'm not going to have a Christmas. I'm just going to be working the whole of December and January. And because it was me and like 2 assistants. And I was like, this is going to be impossible. So I just called them. They're like, I was like, look, I need to let you go because you're too big for me, but I don't want to. And like, it literally stressed me out. I was like, felt like I was pulling my hair out. I was getting like these like stress hives on my hands. And I was like, this is so painful. But I was like, all right, I'm not going to leave you in the lurch. So I was like, cool. I know some of the best people when it comes to marketing in the world. Let me message you. And I already messaged a couple of people I knew. And I was like, cool, this is the people, this is their budget, this is their turnover. Can I give them to you? And they were like, yeah, of course. So I was like, sweet. So I was like, I'm going to line you up with this person. I've already spoken to them. They're keen to take over your account. I can't do it. Just purely from and they're like, why? Then they asked me a question. It was the weirdest question ever to get. They're like, why should we let us go? And I was like, no. This is not it's not like, you're not letting me let you go. I'm letting you guys go because
This isn't a negotiation.
Yeah. I was like, this is not 50-50. Come on. I was like, I'm going to push you across. I've got to hand you over because I'm not going to do you the best job possible. You are the best job possible, right? And then they're like, yeah. I was like, cool. So you need to go speak to these people. And let me connect you guys up and away you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And again, I like the way you put it, that it's ultimately for their benefit. It's being selfish in a way to keep your own sanity, but it's also being selfless for the client, keeping all that in mind.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool, man. All right, third question. Thing that we deal with a lot in our practice and what we hear from a lot of online business owners is that managing cash flow can be a real issue. So you've got a staff, you've got a big firm. How have you managed to deal with that successfully?
So originally I did not do it successfully. I just asterisk that at the very beginning. I was not very good at managing that. And I definitely took on too many overheads and things like that because we were just growing and I was just selling stuff and I was like, cool, more people, more things, like just bringing on everything. And then I was like, oh, wow, where's all our profit gone? So I think the biggest thing for me, and I think for most people, is that like we do, as entrepreneurs, and I'll speak for myself and so anyone else out there, if you disagree, that's fine. I'm just labeling myself as this person. But like, if you don't look at it, it's very hard to manage it, right? And I think a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, would be like, oh, cool, things are working, let's just go. And we just do things, make things happen. And it's like, cool, there's money in the account, we pay for our bills, we do things, we scale, whatever it might be. But the only way that you can have cash flow is by actually managing cash flow and looking at it and breaking that down. And there's a book that I quite like. Some of my friends that are in like the accounting and finance industry didn't like it, but Profit First by Mike Michalowicz.
Yeah.
I quite like that book, and purely because I was the person in the story where it's like, cool, and it's like, cool, put your profit aside first, put your taxes and everything else aside, and then you operate what's on there. So literally at the moment, we have a full cash flow that we can see out from like about 6 months. So like a day-to-day cash flow based on when we have cash coming in, and it works on the average of our company. Then what we do from there is anything that is related to tax and profit, my general manager takes out, and I can't even see that. So I've actually hidden those bank accounts. When I log in, I can't see the accounts. They're not even there. And then in the cash flow, they're not even there either. So I have no, so if I only make decisions now, because sometimes I'll be like, oh, cool, there's a new program I want to buy, or there's this, or there's that. And it's like, I look at our cash flow and go, based on the available cash flow, can I do? So I don't do it because previously it would be like, I look at all the money we have, like profit, the tax, everything. I was like, tax is due later. So I could take that money, use it now. Yeah. And then I'll make more money later. And obviously that's not always the case, because then you take it, you spend it, you use it, and then it's like, it can get a little bit hairy sometimes. But now that I do that, I only operate on what I can see as like, I suppose what you call like free cash flow that's used for the operations of the business. We have profits aside, we have our taxes, and in Australia we also have GST, goods and services tax, that we have aside, so that when those bills come up, we can pay for those. And then the decisions we make are only based on cash that is our money, because the other ones, it literally has on the account name, it's like the government's money, not your money. So it's like, I'm like, okay, that's not my money, that's the government's money. I can't have that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that accountants don't like profit first. And I think part of the reason of it is that from an accountant's perspective, what they'll look at is they're like, you don't need all these extra bank accounts. You can track this other ways. And sure, yeah, you can. And I've got some clients who use that method, plenty of them who don't. But the reason that I do like it, and I think it works so well for so many people, is that tracking your KPIs otherwise and tracking all the stuff that we recommend people track, a lot of that takes a very conscious effort. Where you obviously have to, what you're doing with the separate bank accounts and the tracking you're doing with the profit first method, that's not happening on accident, but it's so much easier to do that. And you can see it at the snapshot versus, all right, I'm going to go into QuickBooks or Xero, and every single transaction, I'm going to code to a specific customer, and I'm going to code to a specific class of customer, and I'm going to do all this stuff that, yes, is hugely valuable, and you should do it anyway, but the percentage of clients that I get to actually do that faithfully is so low.
Yeah.
Versus profit first, it does it so much of it for you.
Yeah, and I think it's because, especially as like business owners, entrepreneurs, you're used to going, cool, here are the resources I have. What can I do with them? And if you got everything in one bank account, you're like, cool, that's all my resources.
Right.
So sometimes you'll be like, I'm going to use all my resources.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, and then obviously, like, you know, if we're a good business owner, we'll be making that back. But sometimes what happens, I find, it's like when it's literally out of, like, when I don't see it and I don't have to make a decision on it, then it's like, cool, it's like, it's definitely done. So it's the same as like, yeah, it's like, that's not there. That doesn't even matter. So it's like, same when I do, like, when I order my meals, I get meals delivered every week that are made to my macros. And it's like, now I don't even have the chance to screw up my diet because it's like, it's delivered perfectly. And then I just literally grab the meal from the fridge and I'm done. Versus when it's my decision, I'm like, but today I really feel like pizza. So I'm gonna order 2, and it's like, no, like I've got that. This, you know, like it's that I don't have that decision to make. It's all already done and dusted.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we'll do for a lot of our clients is that here in the U.S., the way most entrepreneurs will make their tax payments, their income tax estimates, is by quarterly estimates. A couple things happen with that. One, you're making 4 giant payments throughout the year. The other is that people just forget. So what we'll do is, for a lot of people, we have them on a salary anyway from their company to themselves, and we just have it to where it withholds this disproportionately giant amount from their paychecks, and that way that money is gone every single month. That gets drafted out before they have a chance to feel like, man, that tax account is building up pretty nice, and finding some use for it, like you said.
Yeah.
It's it's like anything else. It's just the path of least resistance to hack your brain and to not screwing with the money you shouldn't be screwing with.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's because, you know, you're always, especially entrepreneurs and business owners, like you're always looking on really, most of us looking on the negative side. You're like, but I can turn that into that. I can take 100K and make it into $1 million. Right. You're not really going, I could lose 100K. You're like, no, yeah. I'm an alchemist. I can make something happen here, you know, like.
Yeah, and you need that optimism, obviously, but doing it with the way you do it and the way people who do it successfully, doing it with the right funds, not, you know, there's been all these stories recently about, there's a trading platform called Robinhood where you can trade stocks and options. Some people figured out how to get unlimited leverage because their internal controls were horrible, to where one guy was supposedly on like a $5,000 deposit was able to like buy like $1 million worth of options. Wow. They call it like the free money cheat code, to where you gotta be careful not to just go so insane on the way our optimism and what we're leveraging, but we're all going to have that tendency.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's like, you know, it's the same. So you should never send, you know, entrepreneurs or business owners into a casino, because they're probably going to be like, I just put it all on black. Look at the numbers. It's going to come up black again. And then you're like, no, red.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, sweet. So 4th question is, in a couple of minutes, give me a tip that you think that every online business owner should know.
Yeah, it's a good one. I think like for me that everyone should, as we mentioned before, everyone should know how to fill up a pipeline. And I think that sometimes, especially with certain business owners, they rely too heavily on one side of things where they go, cool, I know how to do, like I did this last couple of years, like I know how to do Facebook ads, nuts to everything else. That's all I'm going to do. But for me, then I was like, okay, it was risky. One time my personal account got shut down. I couldn't log in and check anything. So it caused a big frustration for me. So now I've been like, okay, cool. Like if you imagine that the online world is a wheel and the spokes are the channels that you can use to fill up your pipeline, how many spokes can you get? And for me, that's been the big one. And I think that a lot of online business owners, they will get one thing. And I do highly recommend get one to work first and then add multiples on. Otherwise, it's just way too confusing. But I think a lot of them, they don't have the best process to figure out how to bring people in. Because sometimes people have an online business, but then they still rely on word of mouth or referrals. And I'm like, that's good, but you're an online business. Why are you not using online to bring you more customers and clients? Like that sometimes confuses me. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense.
Especially if they're internet marketers by trade. That's what's always funny to me is the people who aren't practicing what they preach.
Yeah. So many, I get so many Facebook marketers that come to me. They're like, oh, how do you get all your clients, man? This is impossible. And I'm like, I do Facebook ads because that's what we do.
Sell.
Yeah. So it's always interesting.
Yeah. But I feel like that diversification is super important though, because online changes so crazy fast. Somebody I had on, I can't remember who it was, they just joked about how internet marketers can ruin things faster than anyone else, to where these things that will be spectacular tricks for, depends on what the shelf life is. It might last 2 weeks before it gets shut down, a couple months, a year. These even legitimate ones, even these ones where it's not scammy, but the market just shifts. I've known people where they were basically running their whole business off of one Facebook ad leading to a funnel that I think was going to a webinar. And then either their account got banned or the market just shifted to where all of a sudden it wasn't really working anymore. And most of them survived, but it was a real struggle for a while. And all of a sudden they're scrambling, trying to figure out how on earth are we going to make this work now?
That's so true. And it's like, even look at just the platform closing, like Vine closed down. There was heaps of people that were like Vine influencers and all this stuff. And then they're like, my whole platform is now gone. And it's like, obviously, like a lot of the bigger ones luckily were smart and they bounced people to Facebook, to Instagram and rebuilt up from there. But it can literally just be wiped out. And, like there's no reason why. They're all businesses. They could shut down tomorrow.
Well, and it's funny because Facebook's gotten so much flack the past couple of years with the privacy violations and different things, to where it seems like every 6 months there's some new scandal and then they're tweaking what they allow and what they don't allow. That it's funny where people are strategies that, this a million times better than me because you deal with it. Information you were able to grab and the way you were able to target and different things aren't available anymore. And if you know what you're doing, you do what you do, you work around it, you find new strategies. But if you're this dude who just has this one little Facebook ad and this one funnel, that's a dangerous place to be.
Yeah, like I was literally I had a client call with a good friend of mine yesterday, and she's like, I just want to check. She's like, I'm worried because they're killing it. They're doing like 100K a month or something like that plus. But she's like, we have one ad account, we have this, and what happens if Facebook takes this away from us? I was like, well, you're going to be screwed basically. So I was like, let's figure out. I was like, cool, let's put in backup accounts, backup pixels, let's put all these things in place to ensure. And I was like, look, hopefully you never have to use any of these, but let's put everything in place with the anticipation that tomorrow it's going to get shut down. Like, let's share everything, let's back everything up, get it all sorted. Because like, as I said, if it goes down and literally without the source that they have of ads to this funnel, they have no, like that's their whole business. So that means that all their money would disappear tomorrow. So it's like, touch wood, like rub salt over the shoulder. Let's please make sure that nothing bad's going to happen here. And let's figure out ways to amplify this over several different areas.
Well, it's cheap insurance.
Yeah.
And then I think people always get either get frustrated or they don't understand. They're like, well, I already paid for this. Why am I doing this? And it's way cheaper than what it costs if you don't have these backups in place and something bad does happen.
Yeah, 100%. Like you just got to do it.
Yeah, completely. And again, it's funny because it's not a perfect parallel, but we run into the same thing with our stuff where people be like, well, why am I doing this? And I never get into the tax stuff on this program because it's nobody's interested in the technicalities, but it'll be like just different things where it's like, why do we have to do this? Why do we have to do this? Because it's a million times more expensive if something does go bad, which hopefully it won't, and we don't have this infrastructure in place.
That's it. It's all about risk mitigation, right? And it's like, I used to work in an accounting firm in Australia as well, back at 15 years ago. 15 years ago? 10, 12 years ago, something like that. Feels like 15 years ago. But it's just the same thing with anything. It's like you need to reduce your risk because it's like, yes, of course we want nothing to happen, but crazy things happen. Like in Australia, we've just had about the last 2 days of huge bushfires, which have literally on one side of the country burnt down so many people. Like I literally had a lady who was meant to start work with us on Monday. Her brother was just experienced the entirety of his home burnt down. And she's like, look, I still want to work with you tremendously. However, my brother and his whole family are now at my house because of this. And I was like, take all the time you need. If you need anything, please come and let me know. Like my uncle was out on the weekend in this side of the country fighting bushfires as well. I think crazy stuff can happen. So you need to mitigate as much risk as possible because you've got the whole online world. Then, hey, what about natural disaster? Something like that happens. It's like, well, then you're up a creek without a paddle.
Yeah, completely. All right, sweet, man. So last question is, it's one of two things. You can do both if you want. It's either what's the craziest thing you've seen sold online or what's the craziest tactic you've seen to sell something online?
I mean, look, the craziest thing, I see ads for all the time and it's not crazy. It's just weird. But there's a site called Wish and they sell the weirdest stuff ever. And you see it and some people screenshot this stuff and I'm like, number one, how are they marketing this? But number two, who is buying the stuff from these guys online? It is so weird. And we the other day we just started doing a Secret Santa for Christmas time, and we registered for a site and didn't know, but it's backed by Wish. Wish must own it, and then they're like, oh, you can put in your wish list, and you go on and it gives you recommendations based on your age. And for me, there's bongs, all this weird stuff, and I'm like, why is this the recommendation for me as a 31-year-old guy? And there's a one-piece mankini and all this stuff. And I'm like, who is buying this stuff? I don't know how they make it. So that's the weird, the weird angle of things. The other thing that I didn't think I would ever see sold from a Facebook ad is mattresses and sofas. In Australia, there's a brand called Koala. They've absolutely blown up, and I bought a mattress from them. It's $700 or $800, and it's literally choose a mattress, gets delivered within 24 hours. And if you don't like it, you can send it back. And I was like, I never thought that I would be buying my mattress for my bed from a Facebook ad, but I did. And I was like, that was when I saw that, I was like, oh, you know that things are real when it's if I can get a mattress delivered in 24 hours to my home. And try it for 120 nights. I'm like, this is it's a crazy world that we live in.
Yeah, we've got a lot of those, and I've got the purple mattress at home, which is another one of these mail order ones. But there's a ton of them that are popping up, but usually it's memory foam or something that can compress down. But the 24 hours is amazing to me because we've got a bunch of them where it delivers to your house and they give you 30, 60, 100 days. Assuming that you're just not going to send it, most people aren't going to send it back.
Yeah.
It is amazing to me that they can deliver a mattress that quickly, though.
Well, I think that now, because they've grown so quickly, especially in Australia, so they were one of the first. Now there's many companies doing similar. But now they've got a warehouse in every capital city because they know that they sell so much. So I'm pretty sure it's just cool, next day they just go and drop them all off. So it's crazy, and that's got to be one of the biggest things that I saw. I was like, this is just it's just ridiculous. I don't know how they came up with that originally. Cool, we're only going to sell mattresses on Facebook, and I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah,
But
it's funny too that y'all must have a different version of Wish, or they've got a different subset of the inventory. Because for us, we've got it, but usually it's just clothes that end up being like it's sort of a meme on like Reddit, where it's like the Instagram versus reality almost. It's like the wish.com listing versus what arrives, and it's just this like atrocious quality. And it's usually just like regular clothes though. It's pretty hilarious. They're giving you like mankinis and
there is like some weird, like weird stuff, and like people were always screenshotting it and posting it. And I was like, oh yeah, this is funny, this is a joke. And then we saw it when it was like the recommendations you go to your wish list for Secret Santa, and I'm like, hang on. I don't want any of these things. Like, none of this is on my wish list at all for Christmas, guys. Don't get me anything from here. It's crazy.
Oh, man. All right. Awesome, man. So that wraps up the questions. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a blast having you on.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. It was awesome.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. So for anyone who's listening to this or watching this and who wants to reach out to you, what's your best method of contact? What website can they find you on?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm doing a lot of stuff over on Instagram at the moment, so you can follow me over there at Real Kim Barrett, or our website is www.yoursocialvoice.com.au. Remember the AU. I think .com still goes to us anyway, but classic Australians, we've got to have our .au. And yeah, if I can help anyone with anything, please feel free to reach out, and be more than happy to help.
Okay, awesome, man. Thanks again for being here. To everyone watching this, we're asked that everyone please subscribe, review this podcast. Your support goes a long way. And thanks again for being here on The Few, the Proud, the Profitable, where we only talk to legit online businesses.